tonight on ABT Lockdown Live, we've had a little bit of feedback from some non-boaters that want to talk to some of the non-boating guns in the back of the boat. So we thought we might as well start with the Bass Pro non-boater angler of the year from 2019, Paul Mazaroli. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Steve. How are you, mate?
Oh, fantastic, mate. And you're, of course, based in Sydney in one of the COVID hotspots, mate. Better not pop there or someone will put a bullet in the side of your head.
That's right, mate. Ryde has now become a hotspot.
There you go, mate. Look, you're in the heart of some of the best brimming in Australia, but you really love your bass fishing, don't you? Take us through your journey through your Bass Pro season in 2019. Of course, bass fishing is shared weight, so the non-boater and the boater really have to work together, and the non-boater has to be pretty versatile to be able to pick up whatever the boater's doing and run with it. So take us a bit through your season.
Mate, I had a great look. To be honest, I had a great year. The first event was the Clarence River. I drew Tegan Heath. On day one, I think he was sitting second, I was sitting third.
Yep.
Second day, I drew Phil Nix, who's well known around the traps. And Nixie and I went up this sneaky little creek. We had to wait till the tide so we could get the boat over the sandbars. And we found them on Mazzy Pops and Turbo Crawls.
Well, as we go through this, I want you to show me the lures that you used in these different events. I know you got it, so let's run through the lures you used in each event and where you used them.
The Clarence River was the Mazzy Pop and the Mudbug Turbo Crawl, as you can say it that way.
Yeah, yeah. And
tell
us how you fish it.
The Turbo Crawl, toss it as far into the timber as you can so you can't see it, and just slowly roll it out across the surface and hang on for grim death.
Yep.
And just whine like a madman to get them back out again.
And the Mazzy Pop?
Mazzy Pop, as close as you can to the timber. Just a little roll, give it a pause, a bloop, roll it again, and they were just crunching it. We lost that many of them, wasn't funny.
So you're when you throw one and not the other, you throw the plastic into the places where you think you're really not going to get it back, but the Mazzy Pop is places where you might get it back.
Yeah, exactly right. So what Phil and I were doing on the second day, we're all going alternate. I threw the Turbo Crawl more, he threw the Mazzy Pop.
Nice.
And whichever one was biting more, we'd both go back onto that. And we worked a pattern out and we caught them.
It sounds like in the bass tournaments, because of that shared weight, boaters and non-boaters really do collaborate to work together. Is that what you find in real life?
I do, yeah. It's really good. It's like I've been lucky enough to fish with some of the real good boaters. Like I'm good mates with Hickson, and he's shown me a lot. He really got me into this bass fishing. You know, I go away. We've got a great group, as you know. We travel with Mike Nelson, Ebo Everingham. So I get to pre-fish with all of them, and I learn a hell of a lot off all of those guys. They're up there with the best.
Take us through some of the subsequent events in the season, and I know you've got a real diversity of baits you use through the year. Take us to the next event. What baits did it for you there?
The next event was Sinclair. That was a bit of a struggle. Yeah. I don't know. It was a tough event for me. I don't know why. I love Sinclair. I go and pre-fish and I can smash them. Went up there in this and struggled again.
So it was one of the events that didn't count towards your AOY total?
No, not really. It wasn't helpful.
All right, well, let's bypass that and jump to the next event.
The next one was Glenbourne, and that was worse again. And really? I love Glenbourne.
So you fished better the further you were away from home?
Yes. Yeah, I love the Northern Rivers. As I said to you in the interview going up to the Richmond, I love the river fishing.
Yep.
Being an ex-brim fisherman, I still do a little bit of it, but I love that structure fishing, getting the cast in deep and hanging on.
Paul, tell us about Somerset. Somerset wasn't the best event for you, was it?
No, that was a tough one, Steve. I had a great first day. I drew Rob Tilley, went out, and we found big schools. I think we weighed 5.7 kilos, and I was lucky enough to break the 2 kilo mark on a bass, which I couldn't believe, throwing big spoons. I got a 2.3 kilo bass, which I'd never caught in my life, which was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's not too many kicking around Sinclair, are there?
Oh wow, they're just monsters up there. And then day 2, mate, was a failure. The wind come up, we couldn't get a bite, couldn't get a fish. You know what Somerset's like. It's good one day and a disaster the next. So yeah, that was life at Somerset. Finishing 22nd, that hurt. That was a real bad one for me. Then we went to Cania, which I'd never been. Cania, what a long drive up there. Never thought we were going to get there. And that was amazing. That was some good fishing. So we got big fish up there. Graham Ford again. I was lucky to get 40, and we just murdered them up there.
Yeah.
That was a good event. I think I finished 12th, so I was happy with that. It kept
and what were the baits that did the damage there?
I threw the yam, but no, the Eco Gear in the pink.
Yep.
See that one there?
Yep.
I also threw the Bite Motion Pro Factory jigs.
Yep.
Round trees and that, and also Kitex again, 3-inch Kitex. And we did occasionally throw, I'll call them like a big chrome slug, like you're throwing for Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So they work. All that stuff worked.
Awesome, mate. Then moving on, the last couple of events of the year. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. We went to the Richmond. Tell us what happened in the Richmond event. I interviewed you on the way into that event, and there were Mick Eastman, you, and Jimmy's missus,
Leon Walker. Yeah.
Leon, were all within 4 points of each other.
It was tight. Leon and I on the way up. She's coming down. I'm driving up there, and we were geeing each other up on the phone. Who's going to get it? Are we going to do it or not? I went up with Mike Nelson, got to proof fish with Mike, and he showed me a lot how to learn how to use the Pro Factory jigs, and it really helped me. I've blade fished before. Day one, I drew Nick Anderson.
Yep. Who won the event?
Yeah, how good was that? he smashed it. So we went downriver to Swan Bay, I think it was called.
Yep.
And fished Swan Bay. We pulled up, and he said, "We'll just throw vibes." He told me the night before, throw some vibes. So I raided Hickson's box.
Yep.
And Chris gave me the Yamba prawn. Have we got that one in there?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, in that exact colour. That was the lure. So we were throwing that, and we just banged fish after fish after fish.
It's a pretty productive area, that Swan Bay.
Oh, wow. It was amazing. So then
coming in from that day, you would have known that you're in a high position, and you had a chance. You just had to catch that limit on the second day. Who did you fish with, and how did it roll out?
I was lucky enough to draw Keegan Painter, who I'd never fished with, and I was pretty excited to fish with Keegan. He had a bit of a plan to go upriver again. He went upriver this time, and he said he found a school of fish right at the end of the day, on day one, and he said, "We'll go and have a look. Hopefully they're there." So we pulled up. There was no one there. A couple of boats shot past us, and we thought, all right, let's start. I think the first cast, Keegan pulled in a 1.4, and you couldn't wipe the smile off my face.
Yep.
I thought, here we go, it's on. While I netted that, he's taken it off. I hook up and I get a 980, and I'm thinking, this is looking really good now. And for the next 35 minutes, it was fish after fish. We were throwing back 800 and 900 grammers.
Yep.
We were just going, wow, this is insane.
And so driving into the weigh-in at that stage, you thought, you pretty much got it in the bag, and that trophy behind you tells the story, doesn't it?
Mate, I was pretty emotional that day. It was my father's birthday. No one knew it. I thought, wow, what a way if I can win this. Just win. Yeah, I knew I had AOI, but I thought, imagine if I could win the boat, like get the Richmond River event. What a great present for him. He passed away 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And sure enough, oh, wow, it was pretty emotional. I went for a walk with Keegan after we weighed in. He said, we may as well not watch it all. Let's have a walk. We just went for a walk for 10 minutes. And the emotion set in, and he said, "You've got this, you know it." I said, "Yeah, man, it's pretty cool." Best
learning ever. Go and grab that Angler of the Year trophy and just show it to the camera there. We want to see this is what all non-boaters are fishing for. And it's a nice Joey Urquhart trophy there. It says the Bass Pro Non-Boater Angler of the Year, Paul Mazaroli, mate. We even made you put that sticker on yourself, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, I know.
It's a good keepsake.
You had the time to do it for me.
Well,
it was amazing.
It's a great trophy. Joey makes a great trophy for it. So, Paul, a non-boater might be sitting at home. You don't need 100 rods to be a non-boater. In fact, a couple of rods you can get the job done with. I know you've got a couple of your favourites there. Run us through them.
Okay, the first one is my Miller Control Feed Bass Vibe. Okay, I've got a 2004 Luvius on it.
Yep.
Running 8-pound TD sensor braid with an 8-pound leader.
Yep.
Love that. I use that for throwing the jerk baits.
Yep.
I also use it with the blades.
Yep.
And then, fortunate enough, I went and spent some more money like normal, and I bought myself a Miller Switch Freak, and it is the most amazing job with a Tatula reel on it. I use that for jigs and spinner baits, and let me tell you, that is probably the best thing I've ever bought. it's a freak of a rod.
It's good to see you supporting the sponsors like that, mate. Both of those companies have been great supporters of ABT over the years.
100%.
And Carl Jockinson is not lying. Those Miller rods are a very nice piece of kit, aren't they?
I've got quite a few under the House of Ian's rods. I'll ring him up occasionally and get another one made here and there, often when a bit of money comes my way. But, yeah, I love that. The switchery, beautiful stick. You can't beat it. Throwing those jigs, that's the best fun in the world.
I want to finish with your tips from the back of the boat. We've talked a little bit about some of the baits and some of the stuff that you use. What is your tip for an aspiring non-boater that's coming up and wants to be successful? How do you do it?
Oh, mate, it's hard. It's hard to say, Steve. Get out, get some good, you got to buy half-decent gear, like Jackal. You got to get a range of blades, everything, and watch what your boater's doing. Study them for a while. If you get a chance to go out with someone, watch them. Try and learn what they're doing and try and mimic the same things they're doing. And that's how I found it. As I said, I've been lucky enough to fish with some real good fishermen, and it's helped me a hell of a lot.
Awesome, mate. Do you notice a bit of a difference between the bass and the brim? Like the brim grand final, it's shared weight, but most of the brim events, because brim are a pretty prevalent fish, it's catch 5 fish each. Do you find a difference in attitude between the boaters in one and the other? Are they more helpful in the bass?
They are, because you're fishing as a team.
Exactly.
And it's, it's so good. It's just, as I said to you up at the grand final, I said the atmosphere when you're out in the water, and it seems more relaxed, where the other one's a lot tense. It seems to be really tense in the brim. It's just a relaxed atmosphere. You're all away together. It's a bit of fun. Yes, it's serious, but it's just more relaxing.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, we really appreciate your insight on that, and you're a great supporter of the bass events, and you've been a great supporter of the brim events in the past as well. In fact, I remember, must have been 7 or 8 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, you used to come out with us on one of the days of the Australian Open and watch us fish in your local waters there, and it was great to have the company. But the way you sponged up the knowledge was...
You remember that day you hooked that thing off the boulders, that monster on top water, the beast.
The beast, yeah. Well, look, sometimes they win, sometimes I win.
That's right.
That was down at I think that was a spot down at Vaucluse.
Vaucluse, Vaucluse, the boulders.
And it was just like tug of war. It was
just keep pulling, boy, and get him out.
Mate, really appreciate you joining us, mate. And look, let's hope we get on the water for some more Bass Pro events this year.
We can only hope, and hope everybody stays safe and look after yourselves, guys. Let's get back soon.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, Steve. Have a good one, guys.